really just came to my attention one day when I was in class because we were talking a little bit about the government, and they told me some of the bills and bonds that are going to be being passed, and also the budget cuts as well. And I figured, well, why don't we do something about this? And well, she says no one has. Well, then I will. Everyone just kind of was like, oh, okay, sure. All right, fine, I'll go do it. So I go to my principal one day. I ask him for a little bit more information, that way I have a further understanding before I make any dramatic decisions, And he explained it to me, and my decision was still pretty clear. I want to make some sort of change to this, because I like how I told my class, if these bills and bonds are going to be continually playing out and panning out like this, and this hasn't even happened with the span of a year, my younger siblings, how do I know that they're going to have the best education they can when they're my age? And this isn't just for us, it's for future educators and education. So yeah, I'm glad that more people than just me are wanting to change this, and wanting to better their schools and making that extra effort. Because a lot of students, especially at my age, they feel that they have no voice, that they can't be heard. But especially in school, we not necessarily run the school, but we definitely have a huge impact on what happens here.
I think whether we're talking about students or we're talking about an everyday Kansan, I think sometimes when we throw out the millions and the billions numbers, it gets a little weedy, and it's not that people can't comprehend it, but the numbers are so large. So I think one of the things that the Kansas Center for Economic Growth aims to do is to put it in a context that's relatable to a broad audience. So when I talk to the students about it, it's sort of like working a full-time job and going to part-time and just hoping it works out. Those are the things that people can relate to. So because we all understand, I think students understand, whether it's for themselves or from their family, that they have bills to pay. And if you have, one earner or go down part-time, or one earner just quit their job and say, hope it works out, that's what the state has done, and I think that they can connect to. To give them the basic concepts, you don't have to know the millions or the billions, but to give them the basic concept, that's enough to walk forward and say, boy, this isn't right. We quit our job hoping it works out, and now we're having to cut the things that will make us successful in the long run, like education, like higher education, the things that keep our communities safe and healthy. That they can really kind of connect to. So I don't think that any of the things that are happening in the state are above students or really anybody to be able to grasp, but sometimes we hear proponents of this path trying to make it more complicated so that we keep people out of the conversation. And I think by doing that, we do a disservice to our state. What the Kansas Center for Economic Growth is doing is saying, this really isn't that complicated, guys. And clearly, you have students who are grasping it. It's not that complicated.
Well, this is what I love about our kids in Topeka, and especially Topeka West. They are so critical thinkers, and so Dustin Dick at the student councils meetings, they've had students that are so upset about the budget cuts that are coming and what it would look like, and just not knowing. And so he asked if I would come over and speak, and at that point it was like, well, I'll be happy to speak about Topeka, but we need a bigger story, and the bigger story is what's happening in Kansas, and how is this ever going to be fixed with revenue going down and no money coming into the state? How are they possibly going to ever fund the schools in the long run? And so that was what, to kind of inform the students. And Julio really took the lead on it, and we decided, and then he wants to get a group of students together to advocate for our schools and for our state. I think the kids are starting to understand, because they're starting to feel, they've felt the pain for the last couple of years, but they realize the pain may be more. And it's interesting, our budget process, while it's complicated, it's not that hard to figure out. If you're going to get less money, you have to do less. And our students even understand that. With additional cuts, what will it look like for Topeka Public Schools, for Topeka West? And I think they're right on track to start saying, and they need to get involved in the cuts too and preserve what they want to be preserved, because we all know with this type of cut, and truthfully, I was at a meeting previously today, and really the message is the money's probably not even there for the school block grants. We need to get prepared for even larger cuts.